Hey, and welcome back to video number 4. We're going to talk about where should you get the list. Now, before we jump in, I want to talk about questions that you need to ask the seller before you buy a solo ad from them. As well as we're going to talk about solo ad directories, basically how to find solo ad sellers and sites that you can use. So first things first, let's talk about questions to ask the seller beforehand. Where do you get the list traffic? Now, obviously, no one's going to really tell you where particularly that they are getting the list traffic, but they should tell you some general stuff like, okay, they're getting their traffic, they're building their list through ad swaps, through SEO. So what you're trying to figure out here is how targeted is the list and how good of a quality is the list. Is it a diluted list? Is it something that is constantly growing with fresh leads and things like that? How do you send the leads? Is there a way to track it? Do they use the redirect method where they simply just redirect a bunch of clicks to you? Because you got to watch out for that, because not all solo ad sellers are the same. Some will just redirect clicks to you and not be very honest to you. So you have to obviously do your due diligence, and by doing your due diligence and asking questions, if the seller answers your questions, or if they don't answer your questions, then move on to the next seller. If they do answer your questions, then that's great. That's a good sign. How fresh are the leads? On a consistent basis, how many leads are they getting on a consistent basis, daily, monthly, so forth? How fresh are the leads? Because unfortunately, when you have a list, there is a time span or a lifespan of a list. And especially if they haven't built a strong relationship with their list. If they're just sending you clicks, and the clicks are just people that are not really interested, they're just clicking for clicks, then you're paying for those clicks in the end. So you want to know how fresh are the leads and how good of a quality are the leads. Another thing you want to figure out is if they are using ad swaps to get their list traffic, then what kind of types of niches were the recent ad swaps? If you have an idea of the recent niches, then you have a better idea of what kind of people on their list are interested in certain niches. So if you have people that signed up for WordPress, for other types of blogging, for WordPress plugins, that's a good list to go in if that's what you want to go into. But if their list deals with something totally different, then you may want to be aware of that, and you may want to avoid sellers if you feel like the niches that they're doing ad swaps doesn't really relate to your own niche that you want to build the list around. Audience questions. What kinds of people are on your list? For example, how many customers are on your list? Maybe not everybody can really tell you exact numbers, but they can tell you, okay, this list here is mainly ad swaps, or this list here has partial customers, partial ad swaps. So you're basically trying to figure out information about the audience of the list so that you can make sure that it's congruent and matching of your own list that you want to develop and build. What offers do your list tend to really like? That's a good thing to figure out what kind of niches that list likes, and if it's something similar to yours, then go with it. If it's not, move on to the next person, because not all lists are going to be the same. And of course, on the flip side, what offers does your list not really like? So by asking these two questions, it gives you an idea of what kind of offers does that person's list really like? So if you really wanted to create another list in a different topic area, you could do that or move on to the next. So in regards to the above two questions, what's the average open and click-through rate for those topics? And open rate, if you're not aware, it's just when somebody opens the email. And then click-through rate is when somebody actually clicks through after they decide to open the email. So for example, you might get a 50% open rate, but if only 10% of the 50% of the people click through, then that would be open and click-through rate for those topics. So that way you get a better idea of a measurement of what people like and what people don't like. Another question is, what is the typical time frame that the clicks will be delivered? You want to find that out because maybe that the clicks cannot be delivered until a whole time span of several weeks or a month. So you want to know on average, normally, what is that like and what kind of experience you will get too. Now that we've covered the questions, let's move on to showing you which sites to use and where to find solo ad sellers. So it really depends on what niche you are in. If you're in the internet marketing niche, then if you go to Reed Florian's soloaddirectory.com site, you can actually go here and you can go down here and read his reviews on which solo ad sellers are good, what kind of results that he received. For example, let's click on one of these. You can see it was posted on October 24, 2011. So of course, things can change over the time. But what I would normally do is I would look through here and I would look at the responses that other people have made, because a lot of other people may have tested this specific solo ad seller. And then if you see something consistent like do not pay any money, blah, 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 you will not get your clicks, stuff like that, then you might want to be aware of trying to avoid that particular person. So what I would do is I would just basically go through here, and let's say, for example, it is an old 2011 post. What I would do is I would just look for the names and I would go Google these names. So I would Google this person's name, and from that point on I would start doing some research on other people's results, what other people are getting, solo ad results. And it looks like 2012, you got some good results, but now it's 2013, of course. So what I would do is just go through, read a bunch of reviews, try to figure out if this is the type of person that you want to go with. And if so, what I would recommend doing is try to see if they have smaller packages like $50, pay $50 for so many clicks versus paying a couple hundred and so forth. So I would test out the list first. If I got some good results from the list itself, then I would ask for a bigger package. I would warn you against going with a big package first, which is a lot of clicks first, so you can actually test to make sure that it actually works. So this is one directory if you're in the internet marketing niche, but like I said, some of these reviews are older, so if you click on the reviews, make sure that you read the other reviews down below. Like as we can see here, it's all the way to 2013. So that's a good sign that people are testing it out and letting you know what is actually happening. So, but I would compare that with going to the Word forum or Google to figure out more about this person, do your due diligence, and then go from that point. Don't ever take anyone's word for it. Do your own research. And ashleygo.com/solo ads. I've heard good things as well, so check that out. And another site is safe-swaps.com. Go here, create an account, but basically you can do a search in the directory for ad swaps, solo ads, and many more. For example, if I go here and I log in, you can do a search for how many clicks you want. They got solo ad mailings, they got ad swaps if you want to build your list and grow your list, and more. And if you click on somebody right here, you can see the amount of clicks for $26. Of course, that doesn't mean that you're going to get 100 people on your list. If you get a good conversion rate, you can get, let's say, 30% conversion rate. That's 30 people on your list. So that's about $1, about less than $1 per person. But if you go through here, you can actually see the ratings. You can see the negative ratings, the positive ratings. What kind of lists do they have, the niche that they're in, and things like that. So let's take a look at, for example, this guy here. So this guy here has a list of 9,836. Reliability. He seems to have a lot of really good, successful ratings. You can also tell down here what other people are saying, other people's experiences. And they got solo ads, which is what we're talking about. They got ad swaps and solo buyer. So different types of ways to build your list. Or you can use Google by going to Google and just type in solo ads and then plus the niche. So if you're not in the internet marketing niche, you're in the health niche, for example, you could do solo ads health niche and then do some research on that. But like I said, I recommend that you always do your research, do your due diligence, and ask the questions that I've basically gone over just a few minutes ago, and make sure that the seller's fine with answering those questions. If they're not and they get offended, move on to the next. So there you go.